Hi friends, you find me snowed in for the third time in 2 weeks in Colorado. We are having quite the Arctic winter. So I am bedecked in my Breckenridge, Colorado shirt and unadorned and coming to you to share about one of this week's rewards for the Patreon. And that is the introduction and 2 chapters of the Girls Club experience. Now, I wanted to record a video for you to kind of describe why we wrote this and what the vision was behind it. Because weirdly, I feel almost as proud of the Girls Club experience as I do of the actual book of Girls Club. And that's because Girls Club experience was really written to give people practical tools that if they did it with somebody else, it would draw them closer in friendship. And to kind of explain what I mean by that, I want to tell you a story about somebody else who did this for me and how meaningful it was for me. And that was several years ago when I was in my first year of my PhD. I kind of found myself a little bit lost. The first year when I was in my master's, I had an amazing crew of friends. I lived in a dorm with all kinds of interesting people. And then I had my tribe, which if you read the book, you can hear about. I was really, really connected. And then my second year, everybody moved away. I moved out of the dorm. I was a PhD and I was just like overwhelmed and felt really disconnected, and it was a little bit of a time of isolation for me. And during that time, I remember going to a Bible study because I thought, well, I'll just try anything. I'm kind of lonely, so I might as well give this a shot. And it was kind of a weird experience. It was one of those things where everybody got together and they shared more deeply than we had the relational purchase to do. I don't know if you know what I mean by that. And then we kind of studied the Bible, but it was confusing because, anyway, it wasn't a bad Bible study, but it was not what I longed for. And but one of the girls was Coloradoan, and she caught me afterwards. She's really bold. I love her. I might have her on the Patreon at some point. And she said, "You know what frustrates me about tonight?" And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Some of us come here because we want to study the Bible, and some of us are coming here because we really need close friendships. But because neither of those things are stated, we're not really connecting with each other deeply and personally, but neither are really deeply studying the Bible." She said, "And I wish that we could just be more explicit and focus on a goal like that." And so she said, "Well, what would you think if I did?" She said, "Honestly, at this stage of my life, I'm new. I don't know anybody. What I really need are friends. And I want to be encouraged spiritually, but I feel like I can't even do that until I kind of know people." And so she started a group, and we would get together every week. And she started by having us share 5 minutes of our story, our life story. So she kind of sent us home with an assignment. And we all came and we did that. We each got 5 minutes to share about who we were, what brought us to this place. And it laid this foundation of connection that just kind of showing up to Bible study didn't. And what it showed me is that if you kind of have leadership, if you have questions you're going to ask, if you are intentional about trying to draw close to someone in friendship, and if you kind of have tools to do that, you can really quickly have a connection that you might have waited years to have if you just kind of showed up at the Bible study and not ever asked personal questions, not ever kind of gone more deeply in that way. And so that is kind of what we hope to do with Girls Club experience. Girls Club book, of course, is our vision. We talk about societally, why are we lonely? We talk a lot about our own stories. We tried to cast a vision for how important and deep and beautiful women's friendship can be. But in Girls Club experience, we wanted to kind of give people tools, questions, things they could do with friends to actually kind of cultivate the garden of friendship. We use that language a lot of that friendship is like a garden that needs to be tended to and plowed and weeded. And how do you do those things? How do you work through those? So the book is divided into sections. It's heart, soul, mind, and strength. So parts of it are learning how to tell your friend your story, kind of talking about what do you value and how can your friends kind of help you move towards that. So it's really like a practical workbook with some reflections and Bible study meant to help you draw closer in friendship so that you can know each other better, so that you can know what you value, and so you can help each other grow. So it is really practical. It's also something that if you have younger people in your life that you want, younger people, I don't mean that, I mean like literally younger, like, middle schoolers. It sounds like I'm being an old fogey saying if you have, college students. So if you have younger people in your life, I think it would be really appealing for them. But yeah, I feel really proud of it because I think that it will be something that will not just give you a vision of what friendship could be, but could be a tool that if you used it with somebody else, either with a small group or with a group, or just like one-on-one with a friend, whether it's somebody you don't know very well or somebody you do know very well. I think it could foster connection and closeness. So, and I think that's something we all need in our lives. So I hope that you enjoy today's reward. I will also later this week be posting a really fun podcast that I did with Ashley Coles, and I was just going to do it for Patreon, but then it was so fun that I wanted to do it for everybody. So so look for that on my normal Speaking with Joy podcast, and then I'll be posting a little guide she did for what it looks like to grow as different personalities, and I'll post that on Thursday. And I also posted a podcast with Caitlin Beatty today. Beatty, I said her name wrong in the podcast, which was embarrassing, but this is what happens when you don't know people in real life. Caitlin Beatty, who is really interesting. She was the first female and the youngest ever editor at Christianity Today, and I really enjoyed my conversation with her. So check those out. Enjoy today's reward, and I hope your day is as restful and lovely as mine. Talk to you guys soon.